Hey, super cool Bible class teachers. It is so good to be back with you, and thank you for teaching this fall. The month of September, we are continuing with our chronological teaching of the life of Jesus. And we're starting this Sunday with the story of Nicodemus. Next Sunday, the woman at the well, then genuine love, 1 Corinthians 13, and then finally, people rejecting Jesus in the latter part of September. And overall, our topic is love. And to go along with love, does God love me? I have included a Camp Daniel set of Bible verses for our elementary students to work on. What's Camp Daniel, you say? Well, Camp Daniel is one of the missions that we want to accomplish in children's ministry, where we equip young people to be Daniels and Danielas in a time when the culture pretty much runs contrary to Scripture. And recently I heard an incredible testimony about a lady and her husband who are missionaries in the Philippines, and in the early 2000s, she and her husband were kidnapped by Abu Sayyaf terrorists and held for ransom. And it was a very difficult time, and Abu Sayyaf didn't really have a place to go, so they just would constantly be on the move through jungles, island hopping, trying to stay ahead of the Filipino army. Well, after about 6 months, the missionary lady just said to her husband, I believe that God made the world, I believe that God sent Jesus to die for us, but as far as loving us, that is in serious doubt, because we are literally going through the worst scenario of our life. And so her husband said, the thing I want to challenge you with is that you can't take part of Scripture and be selective. And we see that in churches today all around us. It's either all or nothing. And then together they went down by the river and they just remembered Bible verses that involved God's love. And so as a result of that, I wanted our kids to have in the background, beyond the normal lesson, beyond what's normally going on, verses about love. Now, when you're with preschoolers or kindergartners, focus on John 3:16, for God so loved the world. Who is the world? You and I, that He gave His one and only Son. So there are verses for you guys to focus on as well. But elementary, first Sunday night in October, we have a reward. So if you accomplish this mission, you get the opportunity to go to a bouncy trampoline park in Sugar Land down Highway 6, altitude. So I want to encourage you to encourage your kids to work on these verses. And we partner with parents. So if they say a verse at church, they can have it signed off by anybody, but they also need to have it signed off at home. So overarching September, that's something we're working for. And then touching back on Nicodemus and the lesson that you'll be talking on this weekend, just to consider what's the message? It's ultimately faith. And Jesus, in response to Nicodemus's questions, and we don't have the complete dialogue, but he wanted to understand more about Jesus with respect. And so whenever I have a story like this, I think about, there's not a lot of action. So what can I do to add action to the story? Well, I would turn off the lights because he came at night. I might whisper, because sometimes when you whisper, kids tune up to hear what you're saying. One of the options is make a campfire. There's different things you can do along those lines, up to you. But it also talks about snake on a stick. And Jesus goes back, and just briefly, you get like 2 or 3 sentences in the lesson, but you know the story. Jesus goes back and touches on what happened in Moses' time when the people were sinning. And the solution wasn't abracadabra, you're all better, but Moses, go and forge a stick and put it on a pole, and when the people looked to it in faith, they would be cured, which is a symbol of what's coming later. So know that we love you, we're praying for you, we're so grateful for the fact that you're willing to step up and serve, and I pray that this week will go incredible. I do ask you, if you know of any friends who might be interested in teaching or being a buddy, please reach out to them. It truly does take a village. Well, thank you very much. God bless, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.